Welcome back, class. Today's learning goal is I can find the LCM of two or more numbers up to 700. Now, the LCM is also known as least common multiple. And the least common multiple between numbers is the multiple, the smallest multiple that both numbers or all the numbers share. So, for example, the least common multiple of 3 and 4 would be 12, because 3, 6, 9, 12. 12 is shared by 4 and 3. Okay? So, let's start with the first one. We have the prime factorization of two numbers here. What two numbers are those? I want you to pause the video and figure out what two numbers are those. Those two numbers are 72 and 30. Because 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is in fact 8. 3 times 3 is 9, so 8 times 9 is 72. The other one is 30 because 2 times 3, oh, here we go. 2 times 3 is 6. 6 times 5 is 30. So we're trying to find the least common multiple between 72 and 30. Now, if we were to add 72 over and over and over again until we found a least common multiple with 30, that would take us a while. A faster way of doing this is to use the prime factorization of each number. So, let's take a look at the way to do that. We do it very similarly to the way we find greatest common factors. So we write out the LCM, or excuse me, the prime factorization of each number. So again, we write 2 times 2 times 2, and then for the 30 only has 1 2. For 72, there's 2 3s times 3 times 3. For 30, there is 1 3. Put the multiplication sign right there. Finally, there is a 5 for 30. Again, we draw the line, but this time, instead of finding the ones that they have in common, we're going to write the ones, all the 2's that the most one has. So this one has 3 2's. So we're going to write 2 times 2 times 2. They both have one, or excuse me, this one has 2 3's, so we're going to write 3 times 3. This one has 1 5, this one has no 5, so we're going to write 5. So our least common multiple is going to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3 times 5. So that's going to be 2 times 2 times 2, we know, is 8. So we have 8 times 9, 3 times 3 times 5. We also have 5 times 8, that's probably going to be the easier way of doing it. Find multiples of 5, which is going to be 40 times 9. And we know that 4 times 9 is 36, add the 0. So our least common multiple is going to be 360. Why does this make sense? So we said that 72 can be represented by 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. We can find that in 360 and its prime factorization. So if you take a look at the first 5 numbers here, we have 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 3. That's 72. We can also find 30. We use this 2, this 3, and this 5. So again, all of this right here, 3, 3, 2, 2, 2, that's 72. And again, 2, 3, and 5, that's 30. And none of the numbers, we don't have any leftover factors after that. That means that we have done this correctly. If there's no leftover factors that are not being used to make one of these numbers, we have found our least common multiple. Also notice that the only number that is not being used for 72 is 5. That means the fifth multiple of 72 is 360, our least common multiple. The numbers that are not being used for 30 are 2, 2, and 3. So our least common multiple for between these two numbers for 30 is the 12th. 4 times 4, or 2 times 2 is 4, times 3 is 12. The 12th multiple of 30 gets us 360, the least common multiple between 72 and 30. Now I want you to pause the video at this point and try out this question. Find the least common multiple of 56 and 70. Remember, you have to start out by finding the prime factorization of 56 and 70. If you find the prime factorization of 56 and 70, you should find them to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 7. And for 70, it's going to be 2 times 2 times 5. Now, what is that? That is 2 times 2 times 2 we know is 8. So 8 times 5 times 7. 8 times 5 is 40. So we have 40 times 7. And 4 times 7 is 28. Add the 0, we get 280 as our GCF. Again, notice how we use all of these numbers to create either 56 or 70. So we use the 2's, all of them, to get 56, and we use one of the 7's. Again, we use these 2 and this 2 to get 70, and we use this 5 to get 70. So we used all of them, we don't have anything left over, we have done it correctly. I want you to pause the video again and try this last example. This one has 3 numbers that we need to find the least common multiple of, but the process is exactly the same. If you found the prime factorization of each one of these numbers correctly, you'd find that 88 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 11, 231 is 3 times 7 times 11, and 40 is 2 times 2 times 2 times 5, giving our prime factorization, or excuse me, the least common multiple of all 3 of those numbers to be 2 times 2 times 2 times 3 times 5 times 7 times 11. Now, again, 2 times 2 times 2 is 8. 8 times 3 is 24. 24 times 5 times 7 times 11. 24 times 5 is 120 times 7 times 11. 120 times 7 is 840. So we have 840 times 11. And 840 times 11 is going to be 9,240. So our GCF is 9,240. At this point, you can open up the Google summary form and answer the questions in there. Have a great weekend, guys.